Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 12th week of the Civil Designer Software Open Classroom series. I trust everyone is safe and well. Tuesdays are traditionally Survey and Terrain Day, and today we welcome back Andrew Cole. Please remember, all our past webinars from the last 12 weeks can be found on our website, on the FAQ page, which is found under the Services pull-down menu. As always, please feel free to use the text chat service in the GoToWebinar app to ask us any questions you may have during Andrew's presentation. So, without further delay, good afternoon, Andrew. Please take it away.
Hi there, and welcome to today's Survey and Terrain webinar. In today's webinar, I'd like to have a look at the terrain module's long section extraction functionality. But before I start with the long section, I'd like to have a look at the creation of these cross sections that I've got in view on my screen for the multiple surfaces. So this particular cross section was done as a layout, and it was created in this landfill project of mine. The landfill project was designed so that the filling of the excavation cell, the bottom portion, would be done in stages. So just in my control center, if I just switch on those phases, so phase 1 would be that first section that was filled, phase 2, phase 3, and then coming out of the ground would be phase 4, 5, and phase 6. Okay, so we want to be able to create cross sections through all of those different surfaces. So I'm just going to run through that process with you before we move on to the long sections. So just going to the top view of that landfill site. I just want to close my control center, and then I'm going to go to my select road file. So remember, you need to use a road file to set the alignment or to insert the alignment. So it's just road 1 that I've been using for that particular alignment for the cross-section extraction. And I just want to have a quick look at the layers. So remember, we have multiple surfaces that we're working with, and we're going to extract the data from each separate DTM surface and store that information to the road cross-section layers. So here you can see my road layers, cross-section layers are all named from the excavation cell down to phase 6, so 1 through to 6. Okay, so those are the road cross-section layers, the data that gets stored in the road sec file, the sec8 file as it's called now. Okay, then generally when you're extracting cross sections, the rule is to put in your horizontal alignment and coordinate it at a certain interval. I've already got that alignment through here. So let's just have a look at the actual alignment. I'm just going to graphical edit, and you can see the start and end of my alignment, the start PI and the end PI. So the normal procedure is put in your alignment and coordinate it, which I've already done in this case. So I'm just going to section graphical edits so we can see a graphical representation of those road cross-section layers. So each of those DTM surfaces we've extracted now and stored that information in the road layers, in the road cross-section. So remember, it's stored as an offset elevation pair. Generally, wherever we intersect with the break lines, we would pick up a point. So those are all the layers, the cross-section layers. Okay, so how do we get those cross-sections? So I'm just going to show you the way it was generated in the terrain application using terrain cross-sections and extract. So we've got an alignment, so we can use that extract method. These cross sections have been extracted 300 meters to the left and 300 meters to the right. And you can see we're extracting it from each terrain surface and storing it to the various road layers or the corresponding road layer. So it'll be phase 1 to phase 1, and that's the terrain surface 1 to road layer 1. Okay, and then it would be 2 to 2 phase 3 to 3, phase 4 to 4. In this case, the terrain surface and the road layer I've given the same name. So you could actually name them slightly differently just to differentiate between the terrain surface and a road layer. That section search distance at the bottom in this case is 600 meters, which is 300 meters to the left and the 300 meters to the right that we've extracted our cross sections. Okay, I'm just going back to the roads application and to section graphical edit. Just once again to have a look at those cross sections. So in the cross section editor, if you want to make any changes, remember you just have to set the active line for that particular layer that you want to be working on. So that would be in the line settings. You can go set your active line to whichever layer you want to work on, and then you could go and make changes, insert or delete points, etc., cross-section points. Okay, so next up I want to run through the plot routine. So it's plot generate, and then just selecting the cross-section all points sheet file from the knowledge base software folder. Then we're going to be plotting 300 meters to the left, so it's a negative to the left, and then your positive value to the right. You'd set your start and end chainage. I'm just going to go for 100 meters at 20 meter intervals, and then I'm setting my horizontal vertical scale. And we just have to specify then which layers that you want to plot, which cross-section layers. In this case, we've got 6, and I'm just setting different pens for those additional phases, the cross-sections through the different phases, and then we can finish. So there the plot routine is running, and you can see that cross-section at chainage 400. So that's basically the procedure to plot cross-sections through multiple surfaces. So you're extracting information and storing it to multiple road layers. Okay, and then just to show you that published drawing that I've added annotation to. So that was our cross-section layout that I've published, and then I've added some hatching and some annotation for the different phases. Okay, so I'm going to move on now to the actual long section functionality. It's that terrain long section functionality, and I'm going to be using this pond project of mine. Just want to switch off the general shading and then switch on the height shading just to make it a little bit brighter and more colorful, and then possibly just the contours for the canal or channel in the top area there. Okay, so we're going to be looking at the terrain functionality. So I'm going to have to change my application to terrain, the terrain module, and then it's the terrain long section methods. So various methods, the standard extract, and then you've also got a string long from terrain data, and then your fast between 2 points or along a CAD line. So I'm going to start off with the normal extract long section extract method. Okay, so the normal long section extraction, you're required to specify which surface you want to work with, and then to what road layer you'd like to save that data. You have got an option to extract it from point names and then also from road chainages, road alignment chainages. You can extract it from your brake lines or just from DTM points if you don't have a triangulated model with brake lines. Okay, so I'm going to just want to do a long section through my canal and through the pond. Maybe just before we do that, let's have a look at the quick profile viewer, which gives you a quick profile or long section through a defined route. In this case, just using the island and ground merged surface. So I'm just going to click on the top of the canal there and then through the pond on the other side of the pond. Right click finish, and that gives me that quick long section preview. using the quick profile viewer. Okay, this is a relatively new function. You can see there through the canal up the other side, and then across that terrain, and then through the pond, and then across my island, and then outside or up the other side of the pond again. And you could check levels, for example, if you just click at a point, it'll give you the actual elevation. So there was my bottom of pond level, and then the top of the island level. You do have the option to print this quick profile if you want to keep a hard copy. Okay, so next up I'm actually going to do the extract long section. So we're going to be doing it in the terrain module, but I need to first select a road file to work with. So I'm going to go to the select road file, and I'm adding a new road file, and we're going to call that terrain long section, just so that we have clarity on which road we're working with, and then just which layer I want to store that information with. So for now, just the natural ground that I want to extract the data for. Okay, so next up we need to insert our alignment. So it's alignment horizontal graphical insert, and it'll ask you for your start PI, the start of this alignment, and I'm just going to call that start. Okay, and then we're going to go across the pond through the island as well, the same as the quick profile viewer, and then just right click finish with that alignment. So your alignment doesn't necessarily have to be a straight line. Then next up you have to coordinate that alignment. So it's alignment horizontal coordinate. I'm just going to coordinate at 10-meter intervals. So just working out a coordinate at every 10 meters along that alignment, and you'll see that in the output window. Okay, just checking the alignment display settings in the road plan layout settings. So basically what line you want to see, and then at what chainage interval you want to show the actual chainages, the chainage text. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the actual terrain long section extraction. So back to the terrain module, and then it's terrain long section extract. And I'm going to extract from that island and ground merge surface. I'm storing it to that natural ground road layer. I'm just going to extract it from the break line information, and I'm using those chainages from the road file that we've just created. In this case, we want to height all the kink points or bend points, but if you're using inserted DTM points to set your alignment, the name option, then you wouldn't want to necessarily height them if they've already had height given to the DTM points. Okay, so I've run that long section extraction. You can see in the output window we've got levels at every chainage and at every kink point. So you can see there's my top of island 1347 level. Okay, so if you don't output it to a road file, then you can just get an output of the chainages and levels. But if you want to plot it, then we need to have it in a road file. So I'm just going to show you the plotting routine, the plot routine for this long section. So I'm just going to open the sheet file editor application and load that single carriageway long section sheet file. So it's just the normal road single carriageway long section sheet file that we use to plot the terrain long section. I just want to make a few changes over here. So I'm going to the grids. When I ran a trial run, I noticed the grid interval was a little bit small. So I'm going to make the vertical grid spacing a little bit bigger, 5 meters. Horizontal grid spacing still fine. And I just want to change that plotted lines color. So So the natural ground, I want to make it a little bit brighter. I'm going to make it red for this exercise routine. Just make it a continuous line as well. So that's the line 1, our ground line that we're going to plot in the long section routine, plot routine. Okay, so just going back to my design project and then to the plot generate and selecting the single carriageway long section sheet file, creating dynamic layouts. You set your horizontal and vertical scales, and I'm setting to plot the natural ground for this particular long section plot. Okay, and then you can see the profile through the canal and through the pond with the island in the middle. If I zoom in, you'll see my island levels 1, 3, 4, 7. Bottom of pond level at 1, 3, 40. You guys had watched the previous webinars. Okay, so basically that's all I'm going to show you as far as the terrain long section is concerned today, but in the next few webinars we can have a look at the other long section extraction methods. Until next time, cheers.
Thank you, Andrew, and thank you to all who attended today. Please remember, if you would like any further information with regards to Civil Designer's Survey and Terrain module, please use the email listed on your screens right now, or visit our website. See you all tomorrow at the same time and same place using the same link, where Cameron will be facilitating his weekly Rose class. Have a great afternoon, and goodbye for now.